Cabbage is not impressive at first glance. It does not look exotic. It does not advertise nutrition through bright colors or dramatic shapes. Yet few vegetables have shaped human survival as quietly and effectively as cabbage. Cabbage belongs to the species Brassica oleracea, one of the most influential plant species in agriculture. From this single wild ancestor came broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, kohlrabi, and cabbage itself. What separates cabbage from the rest is compression. Cabbage is leaves turned inward. Botanically, cabbage is a dense head formed by overlapping leaves wrapped tightly around a central core. This structure protects the inner leaves, retains moisture, and shields nutrients from environmental stress. This architecture is not accidental. It is survival engineering. Cabbage was domesticated in Europe from wild brassica plants that grew along rocky coastlines. These wild plants were tough, bitter, and resilient. Early farmers selected individuals with thicker leaves and tighter growth. Over generations, this selection produced a plant that could endure cold, resist pests, and store itself. Cabbage became food security. Historically, cabbage spread across Europe, Asia, and eventually the world. It became a staple not because it was delicious, but because it was dependable. Cabbage grows in cool climates. It tolerates frost. It produces high yields per area. It can be harvested late in the season when other crops fail. Most importantly, cabbage stores. Before refrigeration, storage defined survival. Cabbage heads could be kept for months in cool conditions. Their outer leaves acted as natural packaging. This single trait elevated cabbage from vegetable to infrastructure. Nutritionally, cabbage is efficient. It provides vitamin C, vitamin K, fiber, folate, and antioxidants. While not as concentrated as some greens, its volume and availability made it crucial. Sailors relied on cabbage and fermented cabbage to prevent scurvy. Vitamin C preserved through fermentation saved lives. This is not metaphorical, it is historical. Fermentation transformed cabbage into something even more powerful. Sauerkraut, kimchi, and other fermented cabbage dishes preserved nutrients while improving digestibility. Fermentation also added probiotics, supporting gut health long before microbes were understood. Cabbage did not need science to justify itself. It worked. Culturally, cabbage became associated with humility and endurance. It fed peasants, soldiers, and workers. It was everyday food, yet its presence in elite cuisines was never absent. From stuffed cabbage rolls to refined salads, cabbage adapted to context. Its neutrality allowed this. Flavor-wise, cabbage is mild when raw, sweet when cooked slowly, and pungent when fermented. This range made it versatile. Bitterness is present but controlled. Like other cruciferous vegetables, cabbage contains glucosinolates. These compounds contribute to both flavor and health effects. Cooking modifies them. Slow cooking softens bitterness. Fermentation transforms it. Cabbage rewards patience. Agriculturally, cabbage is demanding in one way and forgiving in another. It requires fertile soil and nutrients, but it tolerates cold and crowding. This balance made it ideal for dense populations. Cabbage fields fed cities. Cabbage also played a role in social identity. In many cultures, it became symbolic of national cuisine. Sauerkraut in Central Europe, kimchi in Korea, coleslaw in North America. These dishes are not minor. They define meals. In Korea, kimchi is not just food. It is cultural memory. Seasonal preparation rituals, communal labor, and generational recipes revolve around cabbage. This depth of integration is rare. Cabbage also influenced language and symbolism. It appeared in idioms, jokes, and folklore, often associated with simplicity or toughness. These associations reflect its role. Modern food culture often overlooks cabbage. It lacks novelty. It is seen as old-fashioned. Yet this dismissal ignores its resilience. In sustainability discussions, cabbage performs well. It produces high yields, stores naturally, and adapts to local systems. It reduces reliance on cold chains when used traditionally. It is low waste. From a nutritional standpoint, cabbage continues to matter. It provides affordable micronutrients to large populations. It supports gut health when fermented. It also adapts to modern cooking trends. Roasted cabbage, grilled wedges, fresh slaws, and refined preparations have renewed interest. But cabbage does not need reinvention. It has always been relevant. Cabbage also illustrates an important principle in food history. The most impactful foods are not always the most exciting. They are the most reliable. Cabbage fed people through winters, wars, and migrations. It traveled easily. It grew where grain struggled. It stood between hunger and survival. That legacy is embedded in its structure. Tight leaves, protected core, stored energy. Cabbage is defensive by nature. It guards itself. This defensiveness translates into human benefit. In a world increasingly concerned with food security, climate resilience, and affordability, cabbage remains quietly useful. It does not promise miracles. It delivers continuity. Cabbage is not a trend vegetable. It is a system vegetable. It does not dominate conversations. It underpins them. When other crops fail, cabbage remains. That is why it survived centuries of change. Not because it was loved, but because it was trusted. And in food systems, trust outlasts fashion.